afternoon. Welcome to Health Nuts. I'm Lesley Nicholson, and my guest today is Aleesha. I got that right? Today, we're talking to Aleesha, who's been a frequency healer pretty much all her life. Some people are born that way. I think Aleesha is one of those. So welcome, Aleesha.
Thank you, Lesley. Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone.
So Aleesha studied things such as Reiki and crystals. Want to tell us some more about some of the things that you studied and what sort of led you there, if there was a crucial thing?
Yeah, so I was working in a government role for many years, and it led me to burnout. I was stressed, I was anxious, and I was always exhausted. And I think the pivotal moment for me was finding Reiki. I thought it was just a massage to help with stress and relaxation. And when I received my first Reiki healing session, it made me feel so light that after the session I started laughing. And it was the first time I laughed in so long. It
is beautiful. And just for those people, most people know what Reiki is, but we have listeners who may not have heard of it. So just a basic outline of what Reiki is.
Yeah, so it's just alignment of the body. It's hands-on healing, so they'll place their hands around the body in certain energetic areas, and it helps to bring the body back into balance and relieve stress, essentially. Yeah.
It's wonderful. And I know that the practitioners are generally very sensitive people, and they're trained, of course, and can feel. I mean, lots of people can do this without training. It's just that would they ever know? In fact, I keep getting tangential. That's what I do. My hairdresser's daughter just was naturally, the kids were sick, and she'd just go and start putting hands on them, and they'd get better. Amazing child who just innately knew that's probably past life stuff.
Yeah.
But so basically they can feel the frequencies, and they can see when something's not quite right, and spend time there. That's really basic. Is that about right?
Yes, exactly. And I think that for me, I didn't know that back then when I first started. I just thought I went there for, relaxation and a massage and just to be, calm and help me through my job. And what it gave me was so much more than that.
Yes.
It gave me an ability to be able to understand myself and help myself deal with anxiety and stress. Was huge.
And, of course, I know burnout as well. And I mean, people who work really, really hard and long and just keep at it. And we tend to also be people who think a lot and use the frontal lobes a lot. And there's this go, go, go thing. But it's out of balance, isn't it?
For sure. And I definitely I look back at myself, and that was about 8 years ago. I look back at myself back then, and I was so in my head all the time. I was so consciously, I was a little bit of a perfectionist, a people pleaser, and I always wanted to do my best in everything that I did. And that led me to so much burnout.
And part of that can be because of childhood trauma.
Yes.
But also, we grow up in a culture where frontal lobe stuff is honored, thinking, and the other stuff has traditionally been considered airy-fairy, woo-woo, you're off with the fairies, a nut bar, whatever. It's not honored. It's becoming that way, unless I just surround myself with people and that sort of stuff all the time, and it seems that to me.
Maybe me too.
I often wonder, because it seems the world is evolving, and a lot of the people that I know that are healers, even medical practitioners and people who are in sort of traditional, honored for the brains, are also delving into the other side of things, the spiritual stuff. And
I think it's really nice to be bringing all of it together, because it's all important, all of it, and it's nice to be recognizing that side of us.
Well, Mind, Body, Soul was with the traditional healers of, the Native Americans, the Australian, all of the native Australian Aboriginals, the native people with their healing abilities are amazing. But in the West, somewhere in Europe, Descartes was the one who divided the mind from the body. And so medicine pretty much was looking at the body, and except for them if they went into psychiatry, and they were separated. But, I mean, we're not separate. We're not separate from our minds or our bodies. We're unified beings, and you can't just pay attention to one.
Exactly. And I think that's what Reiki gifted me, it gave me the ability to navigate life, and through life's challenges and life's stresses, it helped me to be able to handle that. It was a gift, and I truly saw it as that, because for my whole young adolescent life, I struggled with all of that, and I didn't know how to manage being a sensitive person, being energetically sensitive, and not understanding why. I just thought I would just cry a lot, thought I was just too sensitive. And then I got that gift, We're
told that, toughen up. I've been told that all my life too, toughen up, all the rest of it. And I'm like, why? There's a part of me that has always been super spiritual, not really understood. There were dreams, there were things going on, but not really understood. Well, and the things that were honored, I was also pretty good at.
Yeah, exactly.
But thought there's more. Always thought there's more than just, doing well at school and getting.
Yeah. And I think being emotionally sensitive makes people uncomfortable, because we've been shown for so long to hide our emotions and repress them and put them away and be tough and, don't show any form of weakness, because it's a biological adaptation too.
And if you think of, say, the best doctor that you had or the best teacher that you had, aren't they the people that are loving and kind and make you feel valuable?
Yes, because they had the knowledge, but they also had the emotional availability.
Yes.
That's the thing. Yeah. We want both. We need the knowledge and the emotional availability. It needs to be both, because if we have all the knowledge and we can't communicate that to a patient or to a person, then it's really, it's not the same, is it?
So you also worked with crystals?
Yes. So I did a crystal healing course, which, the Reiki led me down that path. I started to rediscover myself and who I truly was at my energetic core, rather than just who society taught me I should be. And I started unbecoming a lot of what I thought I should be in society. And so that led me to do crystal healing, and I studied German New Medicine, which is really cool. And I really didn't learn this to help others. I learned it to help myself.
Yeah.
And in that process, I was able to help my friends and family because of the knowledge that I had learned for myself and integrate it.
When people don't heal themselves, then go into healing, I often say, it's like a person who's counseling people who are alcoholics and they've never had a drink. I mean, it doesn't work. You have to have some kind of rapport or understanding. And when you've healed yourself, when you know the benefits of different things, I think you're in a much better position then to heal others.
For sure. And I still had no intention back then, because I had so much within myself that I needed to heal, from childhood trauma and family trauma and adolescent trauma in school, that I just really wanted to work on myself. And learning all that for myself and integrating that was a huge lesson. And I remember the Reiki master that I had at the time, she was wonderful. And she said to me, this will be you one day. You'll be, helping healing people, and you'll be working with people. No way, I don't want to do that. I had no intention of doing that, because it was so... so just down on myself that I really needed to learn it for myself. And then,
If you think of the big picture, and I'm into like past lives and our soul contracts, and when we come onto this earth, we've got a mission. We've decided what we're going to learn this time, or teach, or be, whatever. And so, I mean, when you're in the midst of hell or chaos and being traumatized, there's no way you would say, I chose this. No. But at some level, especially if your soul mission is unconditional love for myself, no matter what, that is when you're going to get challenged, no matter what. And in my case, there was, childhood trauma as well, and domestic violence later on. But all of those things, not that I'd ever asked for them consciously, but those make good healers.
Yeah.
Because you've had the experience, and without that experience, you wouldn't be able to help people in the way that you do. You really get them. You get people.
Yeah. You're able to hold space for them too, because you can hold space for yourself. And it's a very learnt quality that not a lot of people do have naturally.
Yeah.
That because, I don't know, if most parents had taught their children to just, you'll be right, get up. It's great, dust yourself off, keep going, which is great in some sense. But there's also, do you need me to hold space for you? Do you need me to allow your emotions to flow and then move on? And I think that's really important.
And I do think some of that's happening now. There's people are more aware. I remember where I came from, nobody in their family no one said, I love you.
Yeah.
It just wasn't said. It just wasn't. And it didn't mean they didn't. They did. but it wasn't. And then I remembered when kids started saying, I love you, 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it because I thought it was cheapening the most precious gift ever, love, and that they were just saying like, hi, I like your shoes. Or it just seemed to have no value at the time. But I now do see it, and I think that there are, when they're saying I love you, that when they're a bit older, they get what they're saying. It's not just hi.
For sure.
And it is happening now, but at the time I didn't like it. And, I just,
It didn't feel genuine. Yeah.
It didn't. And I thought, it really annoyed me. Yeah. As it would annoy if somebody said, I love you. And they don't. They don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, but now I think that people say it so much now. But I think there is genuine, mostly, of course, you see people who are, not genuine. But I think people do. There's more. It's because it's out there more, acknowledging that we need connection, that we need love.
And that's where we're moving to, too. We're moving to the age of love. Our evolution of the earth is moving to the age of love. And I think that's really special. And I think that's why we're seeing that more, and you're feeling that within your own community, in your own world. And I'm also seeing the same thing, which is beautiful. Really beautiful. My
guest today is Aleesha Portavin, and we're talking about healing frequencies. We've mentioned Reiki and crystals, but we're going to talk more about frequency healing and what that means, what do vibrations mean, what our frequency means. But we're just going to take a wee break and listen to Jim Croce. That was a wonderful Jim Croce, Time in a Bottle. You're listening to Vox FM. I'm Lesley Nicholson. My guest today is Aleesha Portavin. I got it. I've got a funny thing with names. The worst one is remembering people's names. And I'll know people really well, and it's some ADHD thing, I think. But we're talking about frequencies and vibrations. Now, that gets thrown around an awful lot these days. And I know there are people, what does that even mean? So I thought we're going to dumb it down a little bit just to talk about frequencies. If you can imagine putting your hand on something that's vibrating, you can feel that vibration. And that vibration will have a frequency. Now, if you were to turn it down, you would feel that changing. So that's a change in the frequency. The frequency is just the beats per second of that vibration, and it can be low frequency and high frequency, or low vibration, high vibration. And you hear that, this is high vibration, that's low, right? So now people didn't know what that meant. So Aleesha, like examples of low vibration.
Yeah, depression, anxiety, sadness, fear, and disease in the body, pain.
And we're talking about the cells and the energy of the body. That's the vibration, and the frequency is 7 something, isn't it? 7.
So the Earth's frequency is 7.83 hertz.
Right.
Yeah.
And the humans are 67 or 70 or something. We have a frequency which is good health. And when it drops and it's low frequency, so disease, depression, and some of the things that cause that.
It can be a myriad of different things, mostly trauma, lived experience, past lives as well, which you would know. We can bring that in, and we can even energetically get it from other people too.
And the life environments that we live. Too, like whenever we have this kind of conversation, we're in a radio station. Can you imagine the frequencies in here? So, but just the electricity in our houses, phones, computers, all of that affects us. And some people are more sensitive than others. Some people are really sensitive and can't even go. It's hard for them to be anywhere. I know people that can't go into shopping centres because they're so sensitive.
I feel that. Totally feel that. Yeah. And it's because we've got a big group of people in there as well. And the fluorescent lights and all the things.
All of that stuff affects a sensitive person. You can learn to control it. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. So when we're talking about the cells in the body, and another thing is a low vibration, thinking about this before, sharks hear low vibration sounds. This is so scary. So they hear muscles moving. So the worst thing you can do when there's a shark around is start running around and They hear your muscles.
They're so intuitive.
Oh, I know.
Wow.
I know, but we don't hear
special.
those sounds. And of course, there's a lot of sound frequencies the human ear doesn't get, but dogs do. You know, those dog whistles, and animals can hear things just like they can see things. They're just not there. They're not in our repertoire of what we can do. Yeah. So when people's vibrations or frequencies are out of whack, they're basically unwell. We know, with the environment, there's some things we can change and some we can't. If you're living next to a transmitter of electrical, that's really tough. Yeah. My suggestion is move. Right?
For sure.
But if you're there, you can balance. Like I've got in my home and my work, I've got things I plug in the wall and these dome things that you can get that will harmonize all the frequencies.
Yeah, and I think it's a good way to think that everything is a frequency. Plants, people, objects, electronics.
Everything has vibrational level.
And it's all about intention. I think intention's huge. So with Wi-Fi or harmful EMF radiation or a microwave, it's likened to the same thing, but it's used in a detrimental way. When we look at things like frequency healing and, technology, for example, like energy enhancement systems, scalar devices, Reiki energy healing, all of that is used in a positive and intentional way to help promote the right environment for the body to allow its natural ability to heal itself.
Absolutely. Now, you would be aware of Dr. Emoto and the water stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that.
What's the healing of water? But you've got Emoto, who's a Japanese scientist, and he made crystals. He wondered why no two snowflakes were started there, and he had a lot of money and a lot of time. So he made a machine that could make snowflakes, and then he was exposing different kinds of water to the machine to make the flakes. Now, the most beautiful of all is gratitude and love, or love and gratitude. It's absolutely stunning, diamond crystals. And then he got polluted water from really polluted cities, or water that people said bad things to, like Satan or you're a fool. In Japan, that's the worst insult, where we might say you're an idiot, whatever. And then tried to make, and they wouldn't make crystals at all.
Wow.
So that has to do with the frequencies in our body, and what we think is what we create.
That's right.
So if somebody is depressed, the chances are they're going to have depressing thoughts, and they keep themselves there. Now, hopefully, at some point, they'll think, I need help, and get somebody like yourself or somebody out there who can help them shift that if they can't do it themselves. It's a good place to start and try and heal ourselves. I mean, healers tend to do that, and then we find mentors and people to help us.
For sure. And I think the mentors are great because they help you piece the puzzle pieces together. You're already not feeling well. You know that there's something there that's lingering, but you don't understand how to put the puzzle in the right piece, in the right place. So that's why guides like yourself and what we do is so important. And it helps people, and we just guide them. At the end of the day, it's everyone else's journey to be able to, work on themselves.
Yes. And there are so many things, mind, body, and soul, that work with changing frequencies and even thought patterns. So if you're depressed or anxious and you're always thinking, what if this, what if that, you're keeping, your whole body is geared to that. Stress hormones are produced by our thoughts or not. If you meditate, we can control that. We actually have so much more power over the state that we're in than we know.
Yeah, and we've been so taught to be disempowered by that. And we actually have so much power over it, but we don't know how to use the right tools and the right, daily practices to be able to maintain that.
And in terms of just emotional stuff, because as you know, I do hypnosis to help people get out. They don't talk about their traumas. To me, that's the worst thing you can do with trauma, because it just gears it up, makes people feel worse. But there's also things like EMDR, that rapid eye thing, which does something to change the brain. Then there's tapping. Yeah, which we had Gay Miller on talking about that, and that's tapping, and there's acupuncture and Reiki. All these things that we've been talking about, and so many more, are working on changing it. Now, having said that, the environment is everything. So if somebody gets really calm and feels really fabulous, and then goes right into a toxic environment or toxic relationship, they're going to get sick again.
For sure. And that's why I see a lot of the people that I see will come and see us. They are doing it in a consistent way. So they're coming back every single week and they're feeling that sense of relaxation and rejuvenation, and that's helping them, give them the tools to be able to, because we can't avoid the human experience. We can't avoid our lives. We can make changes, but we need to have the tools to be able to actually live our lives. We can't avoid that. We can't live inside forever.
And hopefully get to the point where when people know what wellness feels like over a period of time, however they do it, there may be hopefully a shift to my environment, knowing or being told if they get into the certain therapies, you got to change your environment. And that might be leaving a toxic person or changing from a job where you're not valued. Or now, and having said that, there are people in situations that are harsh and harmful, say they have a severely disabled or demented parent, partner, child, and they must stay with that child. I mean, there are resources here and there, or they can be tough to get. So, but just the empowerment may make them weather that a bit better.
Yes, that's exactly where I'm leading to. That sometimes there are things in our environment that we aren't able to change instantly. Maybe things over time we could plan to, remove ourselves from a situation or make changes to make those things better. But sometimes in those instances, there is nothing we can do. And how can we support ourselves during that time, even when we can't change it?
That's right. Okay, well, my guest is Aleesha Potvin.
You got it.
And we'll be coming back in just a moment to continue our talk on vibrational frequencies and healings and what you can do about that. What tools are out there? So my guest today on Vox FM, this is the Health Nuts program. I'm Lesley Nicholson. My guest is Aleesha Potvin, and we've been talking about frequencies, healing, vibrations, and described a bit about what that means and how when you get out of whack, you're not going to feel good till you rebalance things and get back in whack. So you do something called Energy Enhancement. So tell us a little bit about what that is.
So the Energy Enhancement System is a device. So it's a series of screens. We have 12 screens.
TV screens.
Yeah. Like TV screens essentially. But they actually do have devices underneath the screens which help them create that frequency. So they're laser aligned to the millimeter directly into the center of the screen. So all facing parallel together. And what that does is it creates a frequency within the room.
Right. Okay.
And that frequency is the natural state of homeostasis within the body.
So it's that 67 to 70, whatever that frequency is for humans?
Yeah, well, it's the Earth frequency as well. So it's 7.83 hertz, which is what the body's natural homeostasis is as well. Because when we're in homeostasis, our body's natural abilities to heal itself starts to work. And when we're living in an environment outside of that is, toxins and parasites and chemicals, we're so much against us.
Yeah.
And that's why this is really important, because the environment allows the body to naturally do its thing.
Yeah, it's like acupuncture, and I'll often tell people that acupuncture gets the body to heal itself, and it doesn't make any sense at first.
No.
But it's the same kind of thing, and that's 3,000 years old. And so if somebody's revved up, it'll calm them down. And if somebody's really lethargic and can hardly move, it'll give them some energy. It's like, is it the same kind of thing?
Yeah, imagine just being on the go all the time, and the body is just trying to, it's screaming at you, hello, give me a break, rest. And then we go home, we rest, but we're not really resting because we're on our phones with blue light in our eyes, or we're watching TV, blue light, or we're just so numbed out that we're not actually resting because we're just trying to regulate our nervous system to go back into just, I'm relaxing.
And there's another thing too, like if people are buying, like we were talking before about beautiful, whole, nutritional, organic food, it's got to be digested and used by the body. That's one thing. But there are, people in the crazy lifestyles, and they'll just buy a whole bunch of stuff, whack it in the microwave.
That's
three-minute meals, and I'm not guilty of that myself. Yeah. When life's crazy, but there's minimal nutrients in that.
And we're living in a really fast-paced world too. You know, you would know 20 years ago, life wasn't like this.
No.
Life was so slow,
No.
so much slower. And I think technology is fantastic, but it also made everything more readily available and more fast-paced. And I think that we're so used to being wired, and our nervous systems are like, give me more, give me more, give me more. Our hormones, our bodies are all out of whack because of that too. There's a myriad of different things.
So the person just sits there and looks at these TV screens, or they don't have to look?
Well, you don't have to look, because there's colour therapy, light therapy, music therapy, frequencies.
All happening.
It's a myriad of different things all built into one system. And, you know, like a sauna or colour therapy, like you've seen the red LED lights therapy that are trending at the moment for face and for skin. We have colour therapy, the full spectrum colour therapy in that device. And what that device does is you could have your eyes closed like the sun and not even look at it and have clothes on, but vitamin D will still go into the body like the sun will absorb it. So it's exactly the same process. So you just rest, sleep. It's best to rest and sleep. And the reason is because the body will go into a natural state of rest and digest, rest and repair. So when we're awake, our body is still giving externally its energy out into the world. And when we're resting and sleeping, we're inwardly giving the energy back to ourselves.
Well, I'll often say that too. When people are in the gym, you know, whatever they're doing, they're in the gym exercising, like their body's not making muscles then. The body makes the muscles and does the fitness stuff while we're sleeping.
That's right.
So people that have insomnia, trouble sleeping, double whammy, because they need their sleep for repair. It's horrible, isn't it? And then does this affect people's sleep?
For sure. I was speaking to a colleague about this morning, and some people have come in and had, you know, been a 4-hour a night sleeper, and they've come in and they're really getting the full 8 hours now, full 8 to 10. And that shift seems so subtle, but it's big for people. I've grown up with insomnia. I'm not a good sleeper. Now that I've been working with this device for the last year, I'm such a better sleeper, and I have habits to allow that, to make sure that I do sleep, because otherwise my head will just go on and on and on and on.
What sort of habits?
So turning the phone off and away from me.
How long before bed?
Probably about 2 hours. I really need the time to wind down.
Yeah.
And not looking at any blue light.
Because it stimulates the brain, doesn't it?
That's right.
It's not resting.
Otherwise, I could be scrolling on TikTok all night. So this is a great thing because...
Discipline.
Yeah, and I like to listen to music when I sleep, but everyone's so different. And I just dim the lights, you know, no big LED over lights on at night time. Just to really... Because if you think about it, if we were camping outside in our natural world, we would have the dark at 8 o'clock.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I was a person who liked to sleep in as long as possible. But these days, I wake up with the light. I've always pretty much done that, but usually I'd wake up at 7:30 or 8, and that fits my lifestyle. But now it's 6, like almost on the... I've got these little puppies now, so,
so cute.
They do that too. Get me... They like 6
them
o'clock.
this morning. They were so cute.
So what about... stimulants like caffeine and things, do you take them before bed? That's a silly question.
I do love the taste of coffee. I will admit, but no coffee after 12 p.m. for me.
Noon.
Yeah, 12 p.m. noon. And that's only because I may have more anxiety with that, and also I'm not able to sleep.
You're not sleeping. And what about food, when you have the last bit of food?
I try and eat dinner earlier, because it allows the body to digest. Probably max 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. And what time do you normally go to bed?
I'm terrible. Don't take my advice on sleep. I'll say 10:30, 11.
People say the hours before midnight are the most precious ones.
That's right, yeah. I'll say 10:30, 11, but sometimes it's a bit later. It just depends. Being a busy person that I am, sometimes I don't always get to do that.
So if you're eating at 7, say maybe done by 8, that's 2-hour window before bed, and that's what they recommend.
Yeah.
Because if you go to bed digesting food, how is your body going to be doing it's working on that.
Yeah, it's digesting the food, especially if you've had a big meal too.
Yeah.
They say to actually have a smaller meal at bedtime rather than
Well, I was in England for a time as a child, and the big meal was lunch. Well, they didn't call it that. I think they called it dinner, did they? I can't remember. But it was the big meal, and we used to have it at school. It was part of the school thing, which I really think is a great thing, because all kids got at least one good meal, no matter what their background was at home.
Yeah,
and then a light meal in the evening, like supper, or just a small thing. And I think the body is meant to do that, and especially in those especially European countries and South American countries where they have siestas. I reckon we're supposed to do that.
Oh, I'd love a good day nap.
But have a meal, and then go into like the parasympathetic calm nervous system, have a meal, a substantial one, and then lay down and digest it in the afternoon, rest, relax, and come back rejuvenated. They're much more productive.
Yeah, and I think that, we're living this conventional way of living with this 9 to 5 work, life, and we're hitting that 3 o'clock, 2 p.m. slump after we've had a big lunch meal, and we can't work. We're getting that brain fog starting to hit in the afternoon.
Yeah. You're listening to Vox FM. I'm Lesley Nicholson. This is the Health Nut program. We're back in just a sec, talking to Aleesha. Today, getting back to Aleesha Podovan, and we've been talking about frequencies, healing, crystals, acupunctures, and the Energy Enhancement System. Now, it sounds fascinating. It sort of boggles the mind that this machine puts out the frequencies and the colors and everything to bring us back into balance. Do you have any case studies or examples of people who've done this? And
where do I start?
We've gobsmacker.
We've only had the device for 8 to 9 months, and in that time, we've seen so many stories. So many case studies. We've had a gentleman that had come in and not changed anything in his lifestyle, and his blood clot in his leg had gone.
A blood clot disappeared.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he went to the doctor and confirmed that as well, which was great. And we have clients with Lyme disease, and
that's horrible.
Yeah, and it's a lot, and consistency is what we find really helps, just to keep that going.
So what do you mean? How often? Once a week? Once a month?
I don't like to recommend, because it's more about intuition, trusting what you feel is right for you.
Okay.
But the more consistently you come in, the better. The more regular accumulated hours that you spend in the device, the better your results.
So with something like Lyme's disease, is it getting the body in a fit state to deal with it, or is it removing the I know it comes from bites, doesn't it? From ticks.
So what actually happens is, what the device will do is the person will lay in there on a comfortable recliner chair for 2 hours. 2 hours feels like a lot, but it's not. It's really sometimes I'll wake people up and they'll go, "Was that 2 hours?"
Yeah,
flew by. And in those 2 hours, the body will actually go into the state of rest and repair, like we were talking about before. And the body will start to detox and start to remove anything that is no longer in alignment with the body. So that's parasites, heavy metals, toxins. And what we recommend after...
So I'm imagining the environment is hostile to those now.
That's right.
Those entities, those parasites and things.
Exactly. Yeah. And we recommend doing a salt bath afterwards. A warm, hot salt bath with bicarbonated soda and sea salt.
Wow.
And what that does is it helps the body draw out anything that it's really trying to work hard to remove, because sometimes we can start to experience detox symptoms, and that's just because the body's overloaded trying to work to remove it.
Well, I know, too, when I'm working with people that are doing weight loss programs or whatever, that toxins are often stored in fat and in water. People carry extra water to dilute toxins that are in the body and fat. And so when they start burning fat and losing weight, those things are released. So I just tell them drink lots and lots of purified water.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, 100%.
You tell them to drink a lot of water too?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. And we also do have like detox tools that we recommend, like fulvic acid, Shilajit, and...
What was the second thing?
Shilajit. So it's like it's from the Himalayas, and it actually binds the toxins in the body and allows them to release. So that's a really great
Chlorella does that.
Yes, chlorella.
Not selenium. There's a few natural minerals that do that. So this is like that?
Yeah, exactly. So that's also another tool that people can use as well, because some people don't have baths, so we recommend a foot bath.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it does the same thing.
Okay, so there was a guy whose blood clots dissolved. What else?
Like I mentioned before, the sleep as well. Sleep's a huge one. 4 hours a night, usually for years, and now 8 to 10 hours sleep. I think that's huge. It's something that we don't recognise as a big thing, but that's massive. There's so many things. Eyesight improvements.
Eyesight? Really?
Yeah, eyesight, because usually eyesight tends to be from toxic overload.
Yes.
Yeah, and blue lights. We're looking at screens all the time.
No, glasses.
Tends to be. So the eyesight starts to improve.
What about tinnitus?
Yes.
Oh, that's the bane of my life at the moment. And I'm only thinking of it because I'm pretty good at blocking it out. But it's there and getting,
We had a gentleman that came into one of the sound bath. I do sound baths. And he had woken up and started crying because it had gone.
Oh, my
He's
God.
like, I have final relief.
You mean crystal bowls?
Yeah, crystal bowls, yeah. So we do crystal bowls. Like I will do crystal bowls in the machine. So we'll do like workshops and things like that just to, enhance the experience. And crystal bowls work on frequency as well.
Of course they do.
Yeah. And those crystal bowls, work. He said he could feel it and then all of a sudden it just gone.
Crystal bowls and metal bowls, because I remember the thing at West's, and there was a man who had a bowl you could stand in.
Yeah, that was good, wasn't it?
And he would hit it with the gong, and you'd stand in it, and in terms of, you feel the vibrations going through. You really feel it.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of things you don't feel anything. You wonder, is anything going on? But with that, standing in that bowl was amazing.
Yeah. And I think the frequency in that in itself, you can see and you can feel that. It's incredible because it shakes the whole body.
And I know, and I think one of our guests, a beautiful Barbara Jackson, and also Pia, both of those are sound healers.
Beautiful friends of mine. They're wonderful.
And they have been, Barbara was, I think both of them actually did it in the studio, and you can hear it going through the sound waves. But it's the most beautiful feeling of the different sounds, and not just bowls, but those little chimes and all kinds of sounds do something in the body. And I know with voice and with sound that Barbara teaches people how to hum so that we can make our own change in vibrations in our body.
Yeah, if I know a lot of people like to sing in the shower. They don't think they're good, but everyone has a voice and everyone can sing. But that, even singing in the car on the way to work, in the shower, that will lift your vibration and it doesn't cost you anything.
No.
It's really good.
Also, like when we were talking about environment before, we didn't say the things like you said you love going to the beach. And I love that too. And the forest and the air, the negative ions at the beach, they're the good ones. I don't know why
the good ones, yeah.
and in the forest and just sitting quiet at peace in a special place. And if you can't get out, there are people listening to this program who are homebound or can't get out.
For sure.
You can learn to do that in your head.
You can meditate and imagine yourself there.
Yeah. Meditation, prayer, all of those things raise our vibrations as well.
Or if you have a house plant, you can hold on to it.
Yeah. They sing, don't they?
They do. Beautiful. Yeah.
People have to Google this, but I remember seeing some things hooked up to plants and they're singing. They do. They make noise.
I've seen those devices. They're so cool. And they all sound so different. They all have their own frequency, their own voice.
Yeah. And then there's the spacecraft that have been out in outer space and sent back the sounds that planets are making. They're singing. Oh,
there
my
is
God.
so much we don't know that we're yet to discover, and it's so exciting. I think we know everything, but we don't.
So when we say that vibrations are everything, they really are. Everything vibrates.
Everything.
It's a sign of life. But even chairs and inanimate things have a vibration.
Yeah, like if you buy something secondhand from the op shop, I always like to cleanse it because it has
true.
an energy, it has a vibration, and it has a memory.
I'll tell you what, I did a workshop when I was at one of Brian Weiss's things, and we had to do psychometry, which is holding an object and reading the vibration. And a woman next to me, I didn't know her, gave me a ring, and I went, I got this horrible, horrible feeling, and I could see somebody coming through a window. This might sound a bit weird to people, but anyway. And I said to her, where did you get this ring? Because I didn't want to scare her. It looked like a robber, and it felt like really bad stuff.
Yeah.
We got so little time left. So I said, and she said, my husband gave it to me. I'm like, well, do you know where he got it? And she said, yeah, he got it from an estate sale. And I just had this strong feeling that that somebody had been murdered, and how that it ended up there. So that vibration was
still there.
on the ring, and I felt it. And I didn't scare her. I just said, "Oh,
Maybe cleanse that.
cleanse that." And a quick way to cleanse things in the crystal world is that white one, selenium. Any other crystal can go on that, and it will clean it. And I know that. Again, back to Barbara. She gets people who bring crystals in and put them in her bowls to clean them while she's doing her thing. So there's lots of ways to clean our environments naturally with vibration. So grounding, and I know grounding. I used to think, you just walk around on the beach. But if there's an intention, as you mentioned before, if you stand and imagine connecting to Earth, don't just walk around. I mean, that's okay. It's better than not. But to actually have the intention of connecting with the Earth is really
and
powerful.
barefoot.
And barefoot,
touching
absolutely
that.
barefoot. Yeah, because how often do we get to connect to the Earth?
That's right.
It's been so wonderful having you. We've got about 2 minutes before Frank and Faye come on. Any final parting words?
I just want to say thank you so much. It's such an honour and so much fun to join you today.
It's
and
been
have
a
this
pleasure.
conversation, and just
You're welcome
in
back.
studio.
Anytime.
Thanks,
Welcome
Lesley.
back. Okay.